And what it might suggest about the broader U.S. economy, that's in about 15 minutes right here on WNYC in New York. "73 degrees and sunny out there right now. We have an air quality alert. Kicks in about 11 o'clock this morning, all the way till late tonight. Sunny and hot on this Monday with a high temperature of 88. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high near 90 with a calm wind. Wednesday, chances of showers and thunderstorms in mid-afternoon. Still hot, mostly sunny, and 90 on Wednesday. 73 right now at 6:52.
WNYC receives support from Neon, presenting Splitsville, an unromantic comedy about modern marriages and relationships, starring Dakota Johnson and Audrey Arjona. Splitsville opens in select theaters August 22nd.
On the next All of It, I'll talk with the director of a new docuseries called Conversations with a Killer, the Son of Sam tapes. It uses never-before-heard tapes that explore the disturbing psychology of serial killer David Berkowitz. Plus, we'll kick off this month's full bio conversations about French artist Paul Gauguin. I'm Allison Stewart. Join us for All of It weekdays at noon on WNYC.
Some big AI chip makers will pay the U.S. government a major cut of their sales to China.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance, helping protect small businesses with a variety of coverages like general liability, workers' compensation, and commercial auto. More at progressivecommercial.com.
I'm David Brancaccio in Los Angeles. 2 American microchip makers have agreed to give the U.S. government a cut of their sales in China. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer has the details on this unusual agreement.
Chipmakers NVIDIA and AMD will apparently be sending 15% of their revenues from selling computer chips in China to the U.S. Treasury. This was first reported by the Financial Times, which goes on to say the 2 companies made the deal in order to obtain export licenses to sell in China, and the licenses were issued shortly after the agreement. The licenses will be for chips NVIDIA and AMD designed specifically for China. The FT reports NVIDIA issued a statement saying only that it follows rules the U.S. government sets for its participation in worldwide markets. The Trump administration initially said it would ban NVIDIA chip exports to China. It reversed course. There are concerns the Chinese military will get a hold of these chips. In a post on X, former Biden administration official Peter Harrell said the 15% deal would also violate the Constitution, which forbids export taxes. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
With all of this, a social media account affiliated with China's state-run government-influenced media claims NVIDIA's N20 chip is unsafe for China, asserting it gives its U.S. makers backdoor access and could be shut down remotely. NVIDIA says there is no backdoor. The China posting casts other shade, saying the NVIDIA model is bad for the environment and not all that technologically advanced. Markets, Dow futures are up 0.2%. S&P futures up 0.1%. NASDAQ futures up just slightly. Bonds are up. The benchmark 10-year interest rate is down at 4.26%. In an acknowledgement, the economy may be weaker than we thought. Federal Reserve Governor Michelle Bowman said over the weekend that she expects 3 interest rate cuts during the rest of this year. There are only 3 more interest rate meetings at the Fed left this year.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Bitwarden Password Manager. From family vacations to last-minute getaways, Bitwarden is designed to support secure access to accounts when booking travel from any device at any time. Learn more at bitwarden.com. And by the United States Postal Service, offering stamps for purchase at over 40,000 supermarkets and drugstores and at wholesale clubs, Costco, Walmart, Sam's Club, and BJ's.
Tomorrow we get the government's monthly report on inflation, the Consumer Price Index, which is linked to all sorts of cost of living related matters, including the yearly adjustment to Social Security payments. This spring, the Bureau of Labor Statistics announced it would stop gathering data in 3 parts of the country: Provo, Utah, Lincoln, Nebraska, and Buffalo, New York. That last one, the 49th largest metro area in the country. The BLS says the cuts are about available resources. Will anyone miss the data? Russell Weaver is research director at Cornell University School of Industrial and Labor Relations and a quantitative geographer. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
What's your sense of why the Bureau of Labor Statistics is going to now bypass places like Buffalo, Lincoln, Nebraska, Provo, Utah? Do you have any sense of why they're picking on those places?
Well, interestingly, there was no justification. There was a supplementary release a couple of weeks after the initial notice saying that researchers at the Bureau had engaged in statistical simulations. The claim was basically made that research had been done that showed in Buffalo, Lincoln, and Provo, Utah, that actual numbers through data collection did not differ very markedly from the numbers that they were imputing for that same time period using their statistical techniques.
And so we fully understand this affects consumer price index or more than the CPI?
The CPI mainly is where the cuts have been made, but it is going to affect the housing survey as well as the commodity and services pricing survey. And so that is a little bit of a problem because inflation is a huge issue right now, as everybody is well aware. And so not collecting in Buffalo is probably going to present some problems because that's one of the largest population centers in this region at which the numbers eventually get summarized. And so we're going to be missing a good component there.
Now, I use this data in our work in financial journalism all the time, and you do too, but is it so terrible if we cut some corners or scrimp a little bit on our statistical modeling?
If we're not capturing that inflation accurately, that has a lot of meaning for folks who are receiving, say, Social Security payments through the government, which is another program that's under attack. Social Security payments are adjusted for a cost of living index based on CPI. And so if we're not capturing really the dynamism of CPI and how prices are changing because we're not collecting in regions that could potentially reveal something useful to the eventual estimates, that's going to affect people's bottom line and ability to survive who are dependent on wage increases or Social Security benefit increases that are generally tied to cost of living changes. But maybe the longer term and bigger picture issue here is that through a lot of these changes that we're seeing, we're starting to get a lot more skepticism about the quality of federal data. And federal data underlie effectively all policymaking and decision-making at all levels of government in the U.S. So if we're going to weaken the federal statistical system, that's going to create maybe even more tension, divisiveness, and polarization in society because we'll be arguing about whether or not we can trust the numbers.
I mean, maybe at the personal level, too. I have a lot of friends and relatives by marriage in the Buffalo area. These are folks who want to be seen, statistically speaking. They want a consumer price index in their image. I worry that they're going to feel, marginalized by this.
Not only do we want representation in these data sets, but we acknowledge that because of the data collection protocols and processes, we need to collect this information from a ton of different locations inside of a region with the goal of capturing information that looks common or typical for that region. And so by not having that representation in the CPI, we in Buffalo can sit and watch all the headlines that inflation might be easing or prices might be coming back down, but that might not be the reality for a lot of folks who are living here.
Speaking indeed from Buffalo, New York, Russell Weaver, research director at Cornell University School of Industrial and Labor Relations. Professor, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And in Los Angeles, I'm David Brancaccio. You're listening to the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.